Before switching on the vehicle's engine, you should make sure that all occupants in the vehicle have on their seat belts. The most effective way that you can reduce your risk of being injured or killed in a car crash is to wear your seatbelt. You are involved in an accident and your vehicle is blocking traffic. You should move your vehicle out of the roadway if possible. When a stop is required at an intersection and no markings appear to indicate a stop line or crosswalk, a driver should stop where they have a clear view of approaching traffic before entering the intersection or road. To avoid being in a truck or bus's blind spot, you should avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating them. You should signal your intention to turn at least 200 feet before turning. This sign means pedestrian crossing ahead. A steady green light at an intersection means that you may drive through if the intersection of the road is clear. This sign means yield. This sign means no parking at any time, obviously. The correct way to use a freeway exit ramp is to slow down once you've already moved on to the exit ramp. Do not slow down as you are exiting the exit ramp. Only slow down after you have already moved on to the exit ramp. Over 93% of fatal collisions have been recorded as having blank as the primary cause, a driver's actions. Over 90% of fatal collisions have been recorded as having the driver's action as the primary cause. If you are turning onto a street with more than one lane traveling in your direction, you should turn into the lane closest to your previous lane. You want to turn left at an intersection. The light is green, but oncoming traffic is heavy. You should wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. If you are driving on the interstate and you pass your exit, you should continue driving and use the next exit. A stop sign is shaped like an octagon. When you approach a railroad crossing without flashing warning signs or crossing gates, you should prepare to yield at any train at the crossing. Hydroplaning is usually caused by excessive speed. This sign means that the lane is shifting. You notice a defect which may affect the safe operation of your vehicle. You should correct the defect as soon as possible. This roadside means the pavement is wet. Reduce your speed. Highway markers provide information for drivers. Flashing red signal means the same thing as a stop sign. The safe and legal passing of another vehicle requires a driver to confirm the passing lane is clear of traffic and that no other vehicle is planning to pass using the same passing lane. This sign means no parking. This sign means two-way left turn. When driving in bad weather, drivers should increase their following distance. When driving on slippery roads, drivers should also increase their following distance. What should you do if your vehicle's right wheels leave the pavement? You should take your foot off the accelerator, slow down, then ease back onto the road when it's safe to do so. If a bicyclist doesn't obey traffic laws, they can be ticketed. This sign means no left turn. Do not pass on a hill or curve when a school bus's lights are flashing or when approaching an intersection. This sign means left turn signal. As alcohol builds up in your blood, it slows down your reactions. To avoid collisions with vehicles in your blind spots, you should quickly turn your head to see if your blind spot is clear before changing lanes. This road sign means keep right. Driving in an unfamiliar area, you should always plan your trip in advance. This sign means railroad crossing ahead, or crossroad ahead. If you leave your vehicle unattended, you must turn off your engine, lock the ignition, and remove the key and set the parking brake. When backing, you should turn your head and look through the rear window. When driving under icy or snowy conditions, which driving technique will help drivers avoid crashes, reduce their speed, and increase their following distance? When driving on a narrow roadway, you meet an oncoming vehicle. You must allow the oncoming vehicle at least one half of the main traveled portion of the road. At an intersection with a stop sign, you should stop and look left, then right, then left again. This sign means added lane. You must yield to other drivers when entering a street from a garage or an alley. You may not park on a crosswalk or in a marked bicycle lane. When driving past a vehicle that has stopped in a parked position on the side of the road, you should assume that the driver will open the car door as soon as you approach. If an aggressive driver cuts you off, you should stay calm and move out of the aggressive driver's way. You cannot safely pass on a two-way, two-lane street unless you are able to clearly see the road ahead. You can return to your lane before meeting oncoming traffic, and your vehicle is capable of the speed necessary to pass. Defensive driving is identifying dangerous driving situations and taking action to avoid accidents. When approaching a traffic signal displaying a flashing yellow arrow, drivers must turn left after yielding to oncoming traffic and pedestrians. When driving on slick roads, you should take turns more slowly than usual. Drowsy drivers can drive so poorly they may appear to be drunk. The safe and legal passing of a vehicle requires a driver to confirm that the passing lane is clear of traffic and that the other vehicle is also planning to pass using the same passing lane. This sign means no parking. This sign means two-way left turn. This sign means yield ahead. When driving in fog, use your low beams. This sign means railroad crossing. If you come to an intersection displaying a flashing red light, you should come to a full stop and go when it's safe to do so. A driver approaching a flashing red traffic signal must stop before entering the intersection. You must not drive your vehicle at any greater speed than the maximum speed limit, a speed that is faster, that is reasonable and prudent, a speed that is safe for existing conditions. Anything that requires you to take your eyes off the road, your hands off the steering wheel, anything that takes your attention away from the task of driving could cause you to crash. A broken yellow line alongside a solid yellow line means passing is permitted from the lane next to the broken line. This sign means multiple turn lanes. If you are involved in an accident, you should stop immediately, help the injured, and call the police. Is it legal to cross a double solid yellow center line to pass? No, it is not legal. Out of the following recommendations, which does not promote safe driving at night? And the correct answer is, do not looking into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. Yes, obviously, that's not going to increase your safety driving at night. Looking into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. Obviously, don't do that. This sign means hospital ahead and to the right. This sign means no U-turn. This sign means T intersection. This sign means curve ahead. When you see an emergency vehicle, you see or hear an emergency vehicle coming, you should pull over to as far to the right as you can. That's safe, of course, and stop. You are turning onto a two-lane road divided by a broken yellow line. You immediately know that you are on a two-way road by an emergency vehicle that is using its siren and or flashing lights. You should pull to the right and stop. This sign means turn left or continue straight. When parking uphill with a curb, you want to turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should slow down and proceed with caution. To check your blind spot before turning lanes, look over your shoulder in the direction that you are wanting to move. If your turn signal fails to work, you should indicate you are turning by using hand signals. Coming to a complete stop at an intersection, yielding to cross traffic and pedestrians, and then proceeding with the way is clear corresponds with a flashing red light. You are driving uphill and you are approaching a heavy truck from the rear. You should know that the truck may be traveling at a slower speed than the posted speed limit. It may be illegal to pass the truck, and it may not be possible to safely pass the truck. You notice the driver ahead of you is driving with one hand and talking to the passenger. You should give the vehicle extra space and realize that the driver is not being an attentive driver and avoid following the driver's example. These signs indicate hazardous objects. What does alcohol do to your driving skills and judgment? It harms your driving skills and your judgment. If you're going to turn left on a one-way street, you should complete the turn into the lane closest to the previous lane. This sign shows the type of intersection. This sign means there is a traffic signal ahead. Drivers may not pass from either side of a double solid yellow line. An inattentive driver is a driver who stares at objects off the roadway while driving, maintains eye contact with the passenger during a conversation, or only watches the vehicle ahead of her vehicle. A defensive driver looks out for the actions of the other drivers. When parking uphill next to a curb, set the parking brake and turn your steering wheel away from the curb.